Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm fantastic. How are you?
Fantastic as well, because I've got a guest today. I've got Diane Mulcahy joining me with The Gig Economy. I have to see if I'm saying her name right. I don't know if I am. But Diane, I think I'm getting that part right at least, going to be talking about the gig economy. And what that is kind of a term she coined, but it's like doing side jobs, doing little gigs on the side. So I'm excited to chat about that. Hey, what day of the week do most people eat ice cream? Like, there's a day of the week where more ice cream is sold than any other day. What day do you think it is?
I don't know. Wednesday.
How about Ice Cream Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. Do you know it used to be illegal to eat ice cream on Sundays?
I did know that because you've told me that.
So they had to come up with it was a special way they had to make ice cream sundaes to make them so you could actually buy them on Sundays. Anyway, weird kind of stuff you know when you know dumb stuff. John Hopkins' study found that rubbing broccoli juice on your skin is much more effective to prevent sunburn than any commercial sunscreen.
Really?
Mainly because, if you do that, you're going to have to hide somewhere like under a truck because you've got broccoli all over you. I think that's pretty much why. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk about what special things are going on today. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
You'd never ask. It's Wednesday, February the 22nd. Today is National Margarita Day. Ooh.
Oh.
Heidi likes margaritas.
I do like margaritas.
Today is also Pink Shirt Day. We're already out. Neither one of us wearing a pink shirt. Today's Woolworths Day. Have you ever been to a Woolworths?
I don't think so.
When you were a kid? Nothing?
I don't think so.
I think I was when I was a kid. It's also World Thinking Day. It's George Washington's birthday. Wait a minute. Didn't he just have a birthday on Monday? No, that's the day that we celebrate President's Day. But George Washington's birthday is today. It's Tex Avery Day today, and it is Inconvenience Yourself Day. Well, I'm not going to do that. But I might think today, since it's World Thinking Day, and I might help Heidi find a margarita. Would you like a margarita
I could use
tonight?
a margarita.
Okay, we'll hook you up with one of those. A couple of fun things to do on this Wednesday, February the 22nd.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John from the John and Heidi Show. Join me and my wife Heidi at 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana. That's in the Dominican Republic. You'll get to meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more. Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others. Get all of the details at 80sinthesand.com. Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person. That's 80sinthesand.com, promo code RADIO.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. While most of us just look at art, some people also eat art. Well, they ate art accidentally. You know how that goes, don't you?
No.
Oops, I accidentally ate your art.
I don't know how that goes.
Well, let me explain what happened. It's not like they walked in and gobbled up a statue or, snarfed down a Picasso. Here's what happened. Steve Fields and his children were taking in some art at the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery in England. And their kids accidentally ate a piece of art called No Thank. Now, let me explain what No Thank is. No Thank is an exhibit that features work by 50 different artists. It's constructed in the form of an office, which included some mints on the desk. Well, the mints, they thought, were just left by another patron, so the kids were walking by and are like, oh, wow, mints, and they were able to pick them up, and they ate them. Well, the piece was said to deal with social and cultural issues, and the mints added the ambiance of the room.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Field said, the children naturally assumed the mints had been left by visitors. When I came along and discovered the natural disaster, it was too hard not to laugh. But the museum wasn't so amused. The museum told them, get out of here. You guys got to leave. You don't appreciate art. No, they did appreciate it. Those mints were delicious. Do you have more art in the back? I'd like.
So
do you have any
dumb.
caramel appled art?
Wow.
Hot pizza art? We were going to go out for dinner. I just don't get it. Here's the thing I have to say. As an artist, which, I love art. Heidi likes art. Both of us. Maybe me a little more than Heidi. Because I noticed every time we move, some of my artwork gets lost. Have you seen that? I have no idea where it is now. Yeah. You threw it in a dumpster in the town we used to live in. Anyway, I'm a big fan of art, but some art I just don't get.
Right.
You know,
Some
setting
art
up a
I don't
desk
get
and putting some
either.
art on, some candy on it, that is not art.
That's not art. That's
No.
an office.
Exactly. All right. But you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs, OnStar. We've never had that in a vehicle, but I know people who have it, and it's a handy little deal if you use that kind of thing. A Florida man says the GM vehicle communication system was maybe a little too ready. Ralph Gomez was busted after showing off his OnStar system in his Cadillac Escalade. According to authorities, Gomez had the volume turned down so he couldn't hear the OnStar operator. When there's no response, OnStar contacted the police. Tom Clements, a spokesperson for the St. Augustine Police Department, says when officers got to Gomez, they could see that there was no problem, but Clements says the officers also clearly, visibly saw cocaine
Oh, boy.
on the center console. Gomez was jailed on a $15,000 bond. And guess what? His Escalade, that was impounded. So, yeah. There you go.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, pretty much. What was the movie? Oh, Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, I was
where
just
that
thinking about
and it
that.
wasn't that. They called it something else in that movie. But I don't know how legit that is, you know, that they like turned off the car. I think they can do all of that stuff.
Yeah, that was funny.
And there's like tracking and I don't know. It's kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, kids, this is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. David Burke's wife was passed over for a teaching job in the favor of the daughter of the school board member. So the daughter of a school board member got the teaching gig instead. Well, this guy thought his wife should get it, so he said there's something fishy here. So the Ohio man expressed just how fishy he thought it was by mailing a dead fish to them.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he sent a slippery, smelly dead trout in the mail. The police interpreted this as a threat and charged him with 2 counts of disorderly conduct for sending the fish. While Burke admits...
They interpret that as a threat.
Yeah. Well,
Why?
Burke
Was there like a knife
I
shoved
know.
through the fish's head and a note, you're next or something?
killed the fish, didn't he? I don't know. Well, Burke admits to sending the fish. He says he was just using his First Amendment freedom of... let me try that again. His First Amendment freedom of expression. He explained that it was a symbolic of what he was thinking on how fishy the teacher got the job was and that it really stinks. So I have no idea if he got like arrested or thrown in jail or if they just had to throw that one back. I have no idea. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That joke didn't work, did it?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't land properly. It was funny this morning when I was working on it, but clearly not now. Coming up, we've got your scoop of the day.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. In Spain, a 64-year-old woman has given birth. Can you even imagine?
No.
64-year-old and having a baby. And more power to you if you're that age and you want to have a kid. We're in our 40s and we both already said no more for us. I mean, we said that 10 years ago. I mean, we actually said that like 15 years ago. But I can only imagine that would be kind of bizarre, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a little unusual. A little unusual. Okay, it's a lot unusual. So much so, we're talking about it on the other side of the planet. According to a study published by the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, teenagers who eat dinner with their families have better mental health than those who don't. So have dinner with your teenagers, people.
Speaking of that, we need to locate our teenager and make sure she has dinner with us.
Yeah, we should
tonight.
do that. Dinner plans tonight. Guards at a Brazilian prison caught a pigeon with a mobile phone attached to his body. The guards intervened when
Was
they
he carrying
spotted...
a message?
Yeah. They sending a text message via pigeon? I've never heard of that. The guards intervened when they spotted an inmate trying to catch a pigeon. When they inspected the pigeon, they found a small pouch on the pigeon that contained a phone and a battery.
Wow.
I think they should have
That's
allowed this.
pretty ingenious.
Yeah, they should have allowed this to continue to see where they were going with that. I mean, what were they going to do? Anyway, How about this? Recent meetings with foreign leaders have brought the attention to Donald Trump's handshake. Now, they say he often pulls forcefully on the hands he's shaking. So now they don't even like his handshake.
This is
First they
so
didn't like his hands.
ridiculous.
They didn't like his hands. Now they like his handshake. I just think it's kind of funny. It's like no matter what he does,
No,
he can't even shake
it's
somebody's
just
hand
so
without.
stupid.
Everybody's busting his chops. Hey, do you like Facebook? Would you say that it's usually a pretty good experience for you, or not so much?
I mean, I don't go on there as much as I used to. If I'm on there 5 minutes a day, it's a lot. I used to be on it much more. I don't like it as much
Would
now.
you use the word stressful to...
Yes.
Okay, because that's what people are saying more so now than ever before. Some Facebook users may enjoy collecting hundreds of virtual friends, but it turns out that those online relationships are causing a lot of stress.
Yeah.
That is from research at Edinburgh Napier University. They discovered after conducting a survey of 200 students who regularly use Facebook. Among the students who were surveyed, 12% said they actually dislike receiving friend requests. 63% said they often delay responding to requests. More than 1 out of every 10 said that the site makes them anxious, and about 3 out of 10 claimed to feel guilty about rejecting friend requests. Others said they felt pressured to come up with inventive status updates. So like, oh man, what do I have to do today? What am I going to post to sound awesome? And that's very stressful. Others said they don't enjoy having to apply different rules for online etiquette to different friends. So there you go. That's the stressful part of Facebook, Heidi. Do you feel anxious when somebody sends you a message, or like when they send you a friend request? No,
now when somebody
bad?
sends me a friend, there are people I have declined.
Now,
though.
here's the thing.
You accept everybody.
No, I don't. I accept most people, but there are some that I don't. Here's the thing. If you're sending me a message and your photo is you in a string bikini, and I don't even know you, and you live somewhere that is no place I've ever been, and all of your other friends are just a bunch of lame guys, and I'm looking at this going, who is this woman? It's probably not even a woman. I'm not going to accept that friend request because I don't know what you're up to. But
you accept friend requests of people. Oh, he knows some guy I went to middle school with.
Even if it's like a friend of a friend,
I'll accept it.
But the thing is, the ones that I don't are these ones that I'm going, okay, wait, who is this woman? Is this like somebody trying to send me a virus through the computer or something? Because the only way that kind of person, somebody dressed like that, looking like that, would talk to me in real life is if they also had a virus. Like, this person's probably got a virus if she's talking to me. There's something going on here. Just saying. Coming up, we've got a guest that's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. We have Diane Mulcahy, and she's the author of a book called The Gig Economy, and she's also creator of Forbes' Top 10 Business School class on this topic as well. And we're going to chat a little bit about that today. Good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you kind of were on the forefront of the whole gig economy, because when you put that book out, that was still kind of a new term, wasn't it?
Actually, it was really when I created the class that I teach at Babson College. That was really on the forefront of the gig economy. I created that class 5 years ago, and at that time, it really wasn't a part of the popular lexicon, and people weren't really sure what it was.
Yeah.
My book just came out in November, and people have really caught on to this idea and this topic.
Now, for people maybe that don't know what a gig economy is, what that means, let's talk about what that is. It's kind of a different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a different mindset. And basically, I like to just emphasize that it's not only talking about Uber drivers. So when I talk about the gig economy, it's a pretty broad definition, and it includes anybody who's not a full-time employee in a full-time job. So if you're a contractor, a consultant, a freelancer, or an on-demand worker, you're part of the gig economy.
Nice. And there's a lot of people out there nowadays with the technology that we have at our fingertips. They can utilize that technology to work for themselves, maybe even from their own home. So this is really a kind of an opportunity for people when they change that mindset to give themselves a little more freedom, really, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And the gig economy is so broad. There are so many ways for people in a variety of professions to work in the gig economy. When I did interviews for my book, I definitely heard from people, even in full-time jobs, who were part of the gig economy by doing what I call a side gig. So they maybe had a full-time job during the day, and then they were working gigs on the side in the evenings or on the weekends. And then, of course, there's a whole part of the workforce that is putting together a portfolio of work, a portfolio of gigs, instead of holding a full-time job. So there are lots of ways to work in the gig economy.
Diane, do you see this as a generational thing where maybe it's a younger generation that's really caught on to this more so than people that have been working for 40 hours a week for most of their life?
I definitely do not see that. I think there are millennials who are definitely interested in this type of work. It offers a lot more flexibility and autonomy and control, and certainly their cost bases tend to be a bit lower. But I interviewed so many people who were mid-career or later in their careers or retirees who didn't want to stop working but did want to stop holding a full-time job. And there are so many examples of people joining the gig economy at all stages of their careers and at all ages. It really is a very broad phenomenon.
Again, visiting right now with Diane Mulcahy. She is the author of a book called The Gig Economy. But even before the Gig Economy book came out, there was a Harvard Business Review article, and the title is Why I Tell My MBA Students to Stop Looking for a Job and Join the Gig Economy. And that got a lot of retweets and a lot of shares and a lot of attention, didn't it?
It did. It's gone a little bit viral.
And that's got to feel pretty cool to see how many people read something that you said and said, wow, I love this. I'm going to share that with everybody I know.
It is, and I think it partly speaks to how much this concept resonates with people. I think that, for a lot of graduates coming out of college or out of a graduate school program, they definitely are aware that the workforce has changed, and they know that they can't go out and expect to get a job and hold a job for the whole length of their careers. It's just the workforce and our economy is too dynamic to have that expectation. And for a lot of students, they're very aware that having a single job is a very risky proposition. There's just too many changes among companies. The example that I like to use is when I was teaching the class last semester, a student of mine went on spring break, and he came back a week later, and he told the class that at his company had been acquired while he was away, and there was a whole new management team in place, and he didn't know if he still had a job. So changes happen that quickly, out of the blue, and, it really benefits workers to be prepared for those kinds of changes in today's economy.
And the nice thing is, again, with the technology we have today, you can do what you're talking about, gigs on the side, depending on what career field you're in, much more affordably than you ever could have before. My industry, the radio industry, I have friends, and I'm one of them, that have picked up gigs doing voice work, So it's funny, I'll get a call from a friend, they'll say, I was traveling this week, and they were in a state, 3 states away, and they'll say, I think I heard you on a commercial there. I'm like, yeah, that was probably me. So, I can certainly relate to what you're talking about, and I'm on board. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, there's so many online platforms for people to be able to get work no matter where they live. And there are platforms for a variety of professions and jobs and sectors. So if you're interested in the gig economy, location is not an obstacle.
Well, Diane, thank you so much, not only for taking the time to chat with me today, but thanks for taking the passion that you have and putting it into this project to kind of open the eyes of people who maybe didn't realize that this was a really viable path for life. So thanks for taking the time to do that.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Again, our guest today, Diane Mulcahy, the author of The Gig Economy, the complete guide to getting better work, taking more time off, and financing the life you want. This is a book that's available right now. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? No one knows your loved ones better than you do, and no one knows senior living better than A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their loved ones. The Senior Living Advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. Call 1-800-471-5173. That's 1-800-471-5173.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to a recent poll, the most embarrassing things that can happen at a restaurant, number 1 is choking. Number 2, getting food stuck in your teeth. So there you go.
that was it, huh?
That was your fun fact. Another fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
What are you laughing about?
I don't know what I was expecting there, but it certainly was not that.
Okay. Limes. What the heck am I doing here? No.
I don't know.
I'm going to just delete that because that's not... Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
If you keep a goldfish in a dark room, it will eventually turn white.
Oh, that's cool.
That is awesome. Now I got to get me a whitefish, or maybe a goldfish, and then I'll make him a whitefish. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Speaking of whitefish, how about white bears? If you eat a polar bear liver, it can kill you. Humans cannot handle that much vitamin A.
Really?
So steer clear of polar bear liver. If you see that on the menu, just say no. Well, I'd tried the polar bear liver, but I was told it would kill me. So I'm going to just have to have the regular bear liver, apparently. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In The Wizard of Oz, the dog, Toto, was paid $125 a week, which is about 2 times what the Munchkins got.
Well, that doesn't seem
No, that
fair.
doesn't. Couple of fun facts for you right
Wow.
there. Yeah, no kidding. Couple of fun facts on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Drinking an extra glass of water every day may, I say may, be the secret to fighting middle-age spread. Could be even more important than exercising and more important than dieting when it comes to lowering the numbers on the bathroom scale. This comes from Harvard University researchers. They've conducted one of the largest and most comprehensive studies on the dietary benefits of drinking H2O. That's a good old glass of water. You like water?
I do like water. Just plain water, though. I don't like flavored water.
I like flavored water.
And it's got to have tons of ice in it.
I like water.
I like frozen water.
I like all kinds of water. 20-year study tracked the food and beverage habits of nearly 125,000 U.S. adults in their 30s, in their 40s, and into their 50s. By replacing 1 soda a day with a glass of water, the middle-aged adults in the study weighed about 7 pounds less than those who did not drink as much water. And the more water they consumed instead of sodas and juice and whole milk, the less they gained overall. However, men and women in the study who did drink sugar-sweetened beverages instead of water, on average, gained 3.3 pounds every 4 years. I think I gain that much every week.
I was going to say, is that even a thing?
So they're like, you don't want to gain 3.3 pounds every 4 years, so no more fun for you. Water every day. Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather just gain the 3.3 pounds. I mean, if you like the water, or if you like the other stuff rather than the water. Because if you're cutting out something that you like to not gain 3.3 pounds over the course of 4 years.
I don't notice a difference. When I've lost 3.3 pounds, I don't notice a difference at all.
I mean, I can lose 10 pounds and nobody will notice. I could probably lose 30 pounds and still not even have anybody notice. I'm just saying. But I've got a lot to lose. So clearly way more than 3.3 pounds because I'm just not that impressed. Anyway, I still do like water. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Only 2 in 10 Americans say they're ready for the unthinkable. Are you ready for a natural disaster? What would happen if you were not able to go out to get food for your family during extreme weather? How long would you be okay without power and without access to get more food? Wise Company has the ultimate emergency preparedness pack with enough emergency food kits for a week, or upgrade to be prepared for a month or longer. Call toll-free 888-552-3759. It pays to be prepared. Learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
A poll by the financial website YouGov, whatever that is, found nearly 70% of internet users admitted to having a habit of wilfing. Do you ever wilf, Heidi?
I have no clue what a wilf is.
Wilf stands for what was I looking for? So whatever you guys thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
I have that all the time.
I do
You're
that all the time.
Reading emails, you think about researching vacation spots. That reminds you need to check out gym prices. You start to surf one site, then you forget, what was I doing anyway?
Yeah.
One expert said the internet is so full of distractions, it's easy to fall into this wilfing thing they're talking about. Internet users over the age of 55 are 3 times more likely to be wilfers than those under the age of 25. People over 60 find themselves surfing the internet when they really came into the room to look for their car keys. It's like, what was I here for anyway? I don't know.
You definitely have that
it's
issue.
Terrible. I get distracted very easily. And they know that online, and YouTube always pops up little videos like you're watching one, and you're like, hey, you'd probably like this one too. And like 5 hours later, I'm like, what was I doing again?
See, and I don't so much have that problem as I do, like, I'm working, and I go into a file, and I'm like, okay, why did I come into this file?
Welcome to my world. You'll get used to it after 10 years or so. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Tackling a difficult problem and your brain just can't grasp it? Maybe you should take a nap. It says here, a good nap will improve your ability to solve problems. The type of nap that is most beneficial includes some dreaming. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego, say the nap must include REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement, which indicates dreaming. Study author Sarah Mednick, PhD, explained that for those working on new problems, only REM sleep will enhance your creativity, end quote. So that's probably why. Have you ever woken up with the greatest idea ever? You're like, oh, wow, what a great idea. Man, that is such a cool idea.
No.
I'm going to do that. And then you fall back asleep and you wake up in the morning and you're like, what was the idea? So I try to, if I do that, I try to grab my phone now and email myself.
You have to first sleep before you can have those good ideas while you're sleeping.
Well,
and I don't
sometimes
sleep.
I check my email in the morning. I'm like, what does this mean? Turkey lasagna slingshot. What? I'm going to just delete that email. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you shop online? Do you like to save money? Save money with Honey. Let me explain. Honey is a really smart tool that's free to use. I'm not really an online shopper. I get as many things locally as possible, but there are some things you can only buy online. So when I heard about Honey, I thought, what the heck? It's free. I'll give it a shot. The very first time I used it was for a domain name. It's usually $12.99. Honey searched the internet and found me a discount code, so I bought it from the same exact website for just 99 cents. So I saved $12. It's absolutely free, so what do you have to lose? Check it out at SaveMoneyWithHoney.com. Taking frequent breaks at work is a good thing, providing improved energy and improved well-being. What do you think of that? Workers who get up and walk about the office.
So they want you to nap.
Yeah.
And they want you to take lots
breaks.
of breaks.
I'm saying we got to schedule all of this.
When are you supposed to get your
Squeeze
work
in a
done?
Solid 5 minutes of work every day. They say workers who get up and walk around the office and talk to colleagues or do something else that they enjoy have more stamina and fewer aches and pains, according to Health Day News. This is research from Baylor University in Waco, Texas. It's all about recharging. Unlike cell phones that run optimally until their battery dies, people have to charge more frequently before we deplete all the way. This is according to lead study author Emily Hunter. Although Hunter's team was unable to pinpoint the exact number or the exact length of breaks to be taken for optimal benefit, they did discern that the timing of the breaks is important. Basically, a morning break is ideal. Those who took a few minutes away from their desk earlier in the day had more energy and more motivation to work later in the day. They were also better able to concentrate and experience fewer headaches and less eye strain. So they're saying, embrace your inner slacker.
There you go.
So for those of you who put your nose to the grindstone, they're saying, take your nose off the grindstone once in a while. I remember working at a place where they said, if there were two men chopping down a tree, and one of them, and they, each one of them are going to spend 8 hours chopping on this gigantic tree, and one of them spent the solid 8 hours doing it, and the other one took a 10-minute break every hour, who's going to chop further and faster?
The guy who took the break.
Exactly, because they say during that break, he gets to rest, and he can sharpen his axe a little bit. And, by doing that, when he goes back to work with a sharper axe and a little bit more strength from the rest, he's going to chop through that tree faster. And I always said, why are we talking about trees? That's not even what we do here. They're like, John, you're just not getting the point. Don't know why that job didn't work out. Coming up, we've got some good news. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And this is good news, and it's kind of weird news, but it's interesting news, but it's good news.
Okay.
So we kind of went roundabout there. So it doesn't sound like good news to start. In 2008, Kara Brookins was trying to start over. She had just left a husband that she described as physically violent, desperately wanted to give her 4 children a home where they would have their own room. So she was trying to figure out how she was going to make this happen. She did some studying of home construction tutorials on YouTube. She figured out, I can afford to do this if I take out a loan to buy an acre of land and I build the home myself. All I have to do is learn how to build a home on YouTube. Well, she did. With her kids, age 17.
I think I saw her. I saw her online.
Age 17, age 15, age 12, and age 2 at the time. This is back in 2008. The hard work was on the weekends and after school, along with some regular advice from their local contractor store. It all paid off, though. She says, in the process, we rebuilt our broken family. They'd often work into the night, sometimes by headlight. She says her kids were resilient, noting it was the first time they had felt any sort of power. Imagine that. Living large thanks to YouTube. And her new book called Rise chronicles the project. So R-I-S-E, Rise. She's got a book, and you can learn more about it. I've got a link on our website that talks about it, but that's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
I got to say something. Hats off to this lady, because my wife and I, we built a home.
We did.
10 years ago. Most stressful thing we've ever done. And we had, we were the general contractors, but we hired all kinds of people to help. These people did the majority of this work themselves.
We did a lot of
I know,
work
we did.
ourselves,
We did a ton of it
too.
ourselves. And I remember one day you were going to kill me on the job site. She came a-swinging. I remember putting my hand on your head and holding you out, and you were swinging at me. Because I said something really stupid and really insensitive, which I look back now and laugh, but that day was not funny. I said something along the lines of that I built this all on my own and you didn't help me, and that was so far from the truth. I just thought you were going to kill me. Good thing she doesn't know how to use the nail gun.
You're lucky I didn't know how to shoot at that time.
All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. If you'd like to read the story, it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.